Shalom, shalom, friends. It is great to be with you. I have the distinct pleasure today of welcoming Marko Gasparovic, a rabbinical student at Yeshivat Chovevei Torah in New York, and a musician whose deep connection to Jewish history brings a fresh perspective on the communities of Croatia and the Balkans. Together, we're going to explore the fascinating and tumultuous story of these Jewish communities, from ancient traders to cultural luminaries, from the tragedies of the Shoah, of the Holocaust, to modern revival efforts. Marko, wonderful to have you here.
Thank you, Rav Shmuly. It's an honor to join you and share a story so close to my heart, especially as someone who comes from Croatia and has been deeply inspired by the Jewish history of the Balkans.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So let's start with the roots of Jewish life in the Balkans. When did Jews first arrive in this region, and how did their communities develop over time?
Great question. Jewish presence in the Balkans dates back to Roman times. We know that Jewish traders were active along the Adriatic coast since at least the 3rd century CE, with some of the earliest settlements appearing in places like Split, Dubrovnik, and some of the islands. Dubrovnik Synagogue, founded in 1352, remains a remarkable link to this early history, as it's the oldest Sephardic synagogue in the world still in use today, and Split Synagogue being the second oldest one from 1500. A turning point came in the late 15th century when the expulsion of Jews from Spain and Portugal. Many Sephardic Jews fled to the Ottoman Empire, which controlled much of the Balkans, including Bosnia and Serbia. Cities like Sarajevo and Belgrade became thriving centers of Jewish life. The Sephardic Jews brought their traditions, Ladino language, and a deep commitment to preserving Jewish culture, which profoundly shaped that region.
Wow, it's such a rich legacy, Marko. So how did these communities interact with the broader societies around them?
These Sephardic Jews in the Ottoman Balkans enjoyed relative autonomy under the millet system, the system that was a form of indirect rule in the Ottoman Empire that gave minority religious communities the power to govern themselves. This allowed them to govern their own affairs while contributing economically and culturally to the broader society. Sarajevo, in particular, earned the nickname of Jerusalem of Balkans, reflecting its vibrant Jewish community and cultural significance. Historically and culturally, Sarajevo has been a crossroads of East and West, embodying the diverse influences that characterize that region. In its location and significance make it a symbolic heart of the Balkans in many respects. This was also the birthplace of Sarajevo Haggadah, a stunning illuminating manuscript from 14th century Spain, brought to Bosnia by Sephardic refugees.
Oh, the Sarajevo Haggadah, such a treasure of Jewish heritage. Can you tell us a little bit more about the history and significance of the Sarajevo Haggadah?
Of course. The Sarajevo Haggadah is a illuminated manuscript created in Spain around 1350. It is a masterpiece of Jewish art and devotion. It miraculously survived the Inquisition and was brought to Sarajevo by Sephardic Jews fleeing from Spain. What's extraordinary is its survival during some of history's darkest moments. During World War II, a Muslim curator at the Sarajevo Museum named Dervish Korkut risked his own life to hide it from the Nazis. Later, during the Bosnian War in 1990s, it was safeguarded again, symbolizing not only Jewish resilience but also interfaith solidarity. And today, the Haggadah remains a testament to the enduring legacy of Jewish creativity and survival.
So cool. So cool. It's incredible how this manuscript embodies both Jewish history and just the broader human spirit. I'm curious how it's viewed today in Sarajevo and beyond.
So it's a source of immense pride for Bosnia and the Jewish world. The Sarajevo Haggadah is now housed in the National Museum of Bosnia and Herzegovina, displayed as a symbol of multicultural heritage and resilience. It continues to inspire awe, drawing visitors and scholars from all over the world.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Marko, let's explore the shifting ideas of Jewish history in inland Croatia. From the harsh expulsion of Jews in the 16th century to the sweeping changes brought by Emperor Joseph, is that how you pronounce it?
Exactly.
Joseph II's reforms. How did these transformations impact Jewish life and pave the way for the thriving communities of the 19th century?
So, very interesting. Moving north, as you said, to inland Croatia, we have documents that confirm the presence of Jewish community in Zagreb in the 15th century. Even though in medieval Croatia, attitudes towards Jews hardened, culminating in the complete expulsion of Jews in 1526. But the tides turned, as you said, Rabbi, in the 18th century. Emperor Joseph II, the son of Empress Maria Theresa, created a patent of tolerance in 1782, opened new doors, allowing Jews to trade, to settle, and eventually to thrive. By the late 19th century, Croatian Jews were experiencing the late emancipation and Haskalah, the Enlightenment. They were at the forefront of economic, cultural, and intellectual life. Communities flourished, with Zagreb's Jewish population emerging as a leader. Synagogues rose across Croatia, from Osijek to Varaždin to Zagreb to Split to Rijeka, and Jewish schools thrived. And notable rabbis like Gavra Schwartz, who was the chief rabbi of Zagreb at some point, translated sacred texts into Croatian, fostering integration and cultural exchange.
So interesting. So interesting. Okay, so now turning to a darker chapter, the Holocaust, of course, had a devastating impact on the Jewish communities in the Balkans. Can you give us a little overview of what happened during World War II over there?
Sure. The Holocaust completely shattered the Jewish presence in the Balkans. In Croatia, the Nazi-aligned Ustaše regime implemented brutal racial laws. Approximately 20,000 Croatian Jews were murdered, with many sent to the infamous Jasenovac concentration camp. Bosnia and Serbia faced similar horrors, with large-scale deportations and massacres. By the war's end, the majority of the region's Jews had perished. Yet, there were stories of resistance and bravery. Some Jews joined partisan resistance movements led by figures like Marshal Tito, Josip Broz Tito. Others were saved by courageous non-Jews who risked their lives to provide shelter and were eventually awarded with Yad Vashem's award of righteous among the nations.
Mm. So what happened to those communities after the war?
So post-war Yugoslavia saw a drastic decline in the Jewish population as survivors emigrated to Israel or other countries. However, those who remained worked to rebuild their communities. Today, Croatia and the Balkans have small but vibrant Jewish populations. Institutions like Zagreb Jewish Community, Bet Israel, and La Benevolencia in Sarajevo actively preserve Jewish heritage and foster interfaith dialogue.
Okay, so turning to the positive, amidst this rich history, Jews in the Balkans have made extraordinary contributions to culture, society, and the arts. Who are some of the notable figures we should remember?
Indeed, the Jewish communities of the Balkans have left an indelible mark on the region's cultural and societal fabric. In Croatia, for instance, we remember figures like Hugo Spitzer, a leading Zionist and a vital community leader in Zagreb, as well as Shalom Freiberger, the chief rabbi of Croatia during the Shoah. And Rabbi, let me take a moment to share the story of Shalom Freiberger, a figure of profound courage and dedication during one of the darkest chapters in human history. Freiberger was not only a spiritual leader, but also a fierce advocate for his community. He maintained strong connections with the Jewish organizations in Italy, Hungary, and Switzerland, as well as a remarkable relationship with the Catholic Church in Croatia, and particularly with Aloysius Stepinac, who was the Archbishop of Zagreb at that time. Recognizing the imminent danger, Archbishop Stepinac offered refuge to Freiberger and his family at the court. However, Freiberger declined, determined to share the destiny of his people. In late 1942, he personally escorted the final group of rescued Jews from Croatia to Budapest and Istanbul, ensuring their safe passage to the British Mandate for Palestine. Among the group, which included 10 underage boys and girls, was his 16-year-old son, Ruben. The necessary travel documents were secured only after significant intervention from Stepinac and Vatican officials. Despite ongoing efforts to protect him, Freiberger was arrested in 1943 during Heinrich Himmler's visit to Zagreb, which marked a crackdown on the remaining Jewish community. Stepinac appealed tirelessly for his release, but to no avail. On May 3rd, 1943, Freiberger and his wife were deported on the final transport of Jews from Croatia to Auschwitz. Tragically, he was killed upon arrival. Why? Courageously protesting the inhumane treatment of his people. Freiberger's legacy is a powerful testament to the leadership, sacrifice, resilience. And now, moving to Bosnia, we encounter another treasure trove of Jewish contributions. Rabbi Eliezer Papo, a renowned 18th century rabbi, and Laura Papo Bohoreta, a trailblazing feminist and writer, pioneer in documenting the rich Sephardic life in Bosnia. One of the most remarkable figures is Flora Jagoda, who was born in 1923 in Sarajevo and passed away in 2021 in Virginia, United States. Flori was a guitarist, a singer, composer, and songwriter, renowned for her work in preserving Sephardic musical traditions. She brought with her Ladino songs, Sephardic melodies, and even Bosnian folk ballads called Sevdalinka to global audiences. Her most famous song, according to myself, is the Hanukkah classic Ocho Candelicas para ti, which has become a cherished standard and celebrating the richness of Jewish culture. And then there's David Elazar, a Sarajevo-born Jew who rose to become the chief of staff of the Israel Defense Forces during the Yom Kippur War. His journey from the streets of Sarajevo to the highest ranks of the Israeli military is nothing short of extraordinary and reflects the remarkable tenacity and capability of Balkan Jews. Together, these individuals paint a vivid picture of the enduring contributions of Jews in Croatia, Bosnia, and beyond. They remind us of the resilience and richness of Jewish heritage in the Balkans, a legacy that continues to inspire today.
Awesome, Marko. This has been so moving and such an enlightening conversation about things I knew so little about. As we wrap up, what message would you say you would like listeners to take away about the Jewish history of the Balkans?
Thank you, Rabbi Shmuly. It does means a lot. I think the key takeaway is resilience. The Jewish communities of Croatia and the Balkans have faced unimaginable challenges, yet their legacy endures in their contributions to art, culture, and faith. By remembering this history, we honor their struggles and ensure that their stories inspire future generations.
So beautiful, so beautifully said. Thank you so much, Marko, for joining us and for your passion and for your knowledge. And thank you for all of our listeners for tuning in. Until next time, shalom.
Thank you.